I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close. Where are you from?
From Ukraine.
Good, I had a feeling. Good.
How about Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant? Have you started this question?
On what?
Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Yeah, we discussed that at length today. As you know, it's in pretty good shape. It can start up immediately, almost immediately. And it's one of the things I discussed with President Putin. And they were talking about the nuclear plant. That's probably the biggest in the world, just about the biggest anywhere in the world. Can you believe that? And President Putin's actually working with Ukraine on getting it open. He's been very good in that sense. He wants to see that open. And he hasn't hit it with missiles, hasn't hit it with anything. It's a big danger to do that for everybody. But they're working together to try and get it. It can open very quickly. It's in pretty good shape. And the people there have been there for years. The people there running it. You know, they have 5,000 people in that plant. Can you believe it? I learned that today. 5,000 people. It's the biggest plant of its kind in the world. And they're working together to get it open. They could maybe get it open quickly. That's a big step when he's not bombing that plant. It's a big step.
In the readout from Moscow, they talked about the creation of some working groups.
Yes.
That would be set. Can you tell us about what those working groups would entail? And also, if you wouldn't mind, what is the message that you will give to Putin when you speak to him after your meeting?
So the working group is going to be composed of Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, General Raisin Kane, Marco Rubio, and a few other people that we're going to be putting onto it. I think Pete Hegseth should be in that working group. He knows the territory very well. He's been fantastic at what he's doing. And they may add one or two people. And likewise, Ukraine's going to have some very good people that were at lunch today that enjoyed the lunch today a lot, more than they thought, right?
Discuss any time, location, meeting place?
Yeah, we're discussing a lot of things. No, look, I was on the phone with them for almost, I guess, 2.5 hours. They're just telling me now. It's a long time. We discussed a lot of things. We didn't talk about the weather. We weren't talking about what a beautiful day it is in Palm Beach, Florida.
So in your conversation with President Putin, did you discuss what responsibility Russia will have for any kind of reconstruction of Ukraine post an agreement?
I did. They're going to be helping. Russia's going to be helping. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. It sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices. So a lot of good things came out of that call today. But they were in the works for 2 weeks with Steve and with Jared and Marco and everybody.
Did Russia agree, or did Putin agree to a ceasefire to allow a referendum to take place?
Not a ceasefire, and that's one of the points that we're working on right now. No, not a ceasefire. He feels that, look, they're fighting and to stop, and then if they have to start again, which is a possibility, he doesn't want to be in that position. I understand that position. The president feels strongly about that or something. But I think we're finding ways that we can get around that. But I understand President Putin from that standpoint. You have to understand the other side. And, I'm on the side of peace. I'm on the side of stopping the war. So, but I think that's a problem that's going to get solved, yeah.
A telephone conversation between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump has just ended. The conversation was initiated by the US President, who wanted to discuss the current situation surrounding the Ukraine conflict and explore possibilities for its resolution. He requested the call ahead of his meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky later today in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. At the beginning of the hour and 15-minute discussion, the two leaders exchanged warm greetings on the occasion of the Christmas and New Year holidays and extended their best wishes to the peoples of both countries. The entire conversation that followed was described as friendly, cordial, and businesslike, reflecting a mutual interest in moving toward a peaceful, long-term resolution of the Ukraine conflict. Donald Trump listened attentively to Russia's assessment of the prospects for reaching an agreement. President Putin presented detailed arguments emphasizing the importance of maintaining focus on the basic Russian-American understandings reached during the Anchorage summit and through various intergovernmental contacts. both presidents reportedly agreed that the temporary ceasefire proposed by Ukraine and European mediators, ostensibly to prepare for a referendum, would only prolong the conflict and risk a renewed escalation. To end hostilities decisively, it was suggested that Kiev must make a bold and responsible political decision aligned with ongoing Russian-American diplomatic efforts. Given the situation on the front lines, the Russian side expressed that Ukraine should adopt this decision regarding Donbass without delay. Trump emphasized that the war must end as soon as possible, highlighting the promising opportunities for economic cooperation among the United States, Russia, and Ukraine that could follow peace. Acknowledging the complexity of the Ukrainian crisis, Trump said he was once again convinced of Russia's commitment to a political and diplomatic settlement. He noted that this understanding would guide his upcoming discussions with President Zelensky. During the call, both leaders agreed to continue working towards stabilizing the situation through two newly established working groups, one focused on security matters and the other on economic cooperation. The parameters for launching these groups will be finalized soon, likely by early January. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump concluded their call with an agreement to speak again following the US president's meeting with the Ukrainian delegation in Mar-a-Lago later this evening.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.